What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we have David DiMuzio from Hair Loss Hope on the channel. Super excited to have him here, guys. He is one of the main reasons I actually started posting videos, and actually before that, why I got a hair transplant, because I didn't trust a lot of the reviews I was watching. And he is super knowledgeable and super entertaining and helpful. So if you haven't checked him out, go check him out. But guys, it is really a pleasure to have you here. I had a few questions for him, and he's been really kind enough to go ahead and answer them, and he's also going to review my hair, so stay tuned for that. First question I really have for you is, why did you decide to actually record videos after the second hair transplant and not the first one?
My first hair transplant, I didn't reveal publicly that I was having a hair transplant, and that was because I was a singer at the time.
Okay.
You know, my career was just taking off in the Philippines. I had a few hit songs there. And, you know, at that time, people weren't documenting their hair transplants for YouTube. Actually, when I first documented my second hair transplant, which is, you know, the first one I documented, but it was actually my second hair transplant, there was really no other young guys that were documenting their hair transplants on YouTube. I was the first one, really.
Yeah.
I'd only even seen one other person, period, who was like a patient documenting their process.
Yeah.
Now, there were other doctors that were documenting like, oh, here are before and after pictures, but I was really the first young patient to document having a hair transplant on YouTube. And so it wasn't even something with the first one that I even thought about like I should do as a thing, because people didn't do that. A hair transplant was something that you hid. And actually, before I released the videos of my second hair transplant, the first one I documented, a lot of my friends and people that I work with in the entertainment industry suggested to me that I don't do that. They said, "Oh, that's horrible. It's gonna be like a career killer. It's don't share this with people. Like, this is not something you want to share." But I think it ended up not being true at all. That it's been a really meaningful thing in my life, and it's an incredible impact, I feel like, that I've had on the world. I have guys come up to me at least on a weekly basis somewhere in public and stop me and say, "Hey, you know, I've never shared this with anyone before, but I actually had a hair transplant, and I'm only sharing it with you because you were the guy that I watched that inspired me to have a hair transplant, and I'm so happy, and you changed my life."
Wow.
So that's
That is
incredible
incredible.
when that happens.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have like people that do that on my YouTube channel, like, but to have people come in public, that's like huge. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had a guy come up to me recently here in Nashville in Home Depot. I was like, buy a hammer or something like that, and he stopped me in the Home Depot line.
You're like, oh, I'm just trying to go work on my house.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So I would say that that's the most difficult thing about having shared it is that I actually don't really care that much about my hair. Like, I'm not obsessed with my hair at all, and most days I don't comb my hair. I mean, I get out of bed, maybe I like put my fingers through my hair and like kind of push it into place. I get a haircut at Great Clips for like $15. Like, I'm not obsessed with my hair.
That's
So
awesome.
it's actually that people do see me in public and go like, "Oh, hey, like, you're the hair transplant guy. Like, you didn't even comb your hair." You know, like, so
That's
that
awesome.
there's like more pressure on me for like my hair to sort of look good to them, but it's actually like this sort of like pressure that they almost put on themselves. And so yeah, like a lot of the comments that I'll get on my YouTube channel are like people like critiquing my hair, and I don't share hair loss videos to sort of like for myself because I want my hair to be the best.
Yeah.
You know, I share my experience because I want other people's hair to be
The best
as good or
that they
better
can
than
have.
mine. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And on that note, you actually mentioned earlier off camera that you are going to be going back for a little bit of work. What are you getting done? What do you kind of
Yes.
like? What kind of technique are you using? How many grafts are you going to do? Give us a little sneak peek of what people can expect.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm actually gonna have, I would say, at least 2 more hair transplants.
Really? 2?
And yeah, and I know I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't planning on probably ever having a hair transplant again, or if I did, maybe like years and years from now having a hair transplant. That was always sort of in my mind. Again, because I am not really obsessed with my hair, and I'm pretty happy with my own hair.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So why am I gonna go now and get 2 more hair transplants then if I'm saying that? And it's because recently, about 6 months or so, I got a body hair transplant, and they took some hair. Dr. Patrick Mwamba and Dr. Truett Bridges in Atlanta, they took this hair from underneath my neck, and they actually just did it's a very small surgery. They just implanted some of that into this FUT scar that I actually have from that second surgery that I did. It's with an unnamed surgeon, but I want to make sure it's not with Dr. Daniel McGrath. He did my third surgery, which is the one last like major surgery I had, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. So yeah, Daniel McGrath, I've never even seen his scar. It's like virtually invisible. But the second surgery that I had, that scar is quite large. Yeah. And so again, it actually didn't bother me that much, but Dr. Patrick Mwamba, he offered to do the surgery for free, and he's one of the, like most recognized body hair transplant surgeons in the world. So I thought, hey, he's offering to do this surgery for free. I've got this channel about hair transplants.
Why not?
This is not a super common thing. Body hair transplants is not, very few people have ever met anybody that's had a body hair transplant, So I thought this is a cool opportunity for me to go document this and again, be able to share with other people, help other people. And, nice beneficial result is that my scar will be a little bit more camouflage and I might be able to cut my hair a little bit shorter.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So, so we did that whole thing. I documented the whole process. It was very cool, very fun, super easy surgery. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? A lot of people kind of talk about my hair, and my hair is sort of this figurehead of my hair transplant channel, Hair Loss Hope. And so I guess even though it's not as important for me, for my, my hair to be like the best hair ever, the hair transplanted, and I see other people that have even better looking results than me, at the same time, I sort of realized that because I've got this channel, people sort of like, I don't know, almost like vicariously live through me in sort of a way. And so I think there's actually an importance for my hair being the best that it can to actually help other people. Because it'll be like, okay, cool, like this is even possible. Or like I can believe him when he says this thing because look, his hair looks so great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so I thought, and the other thing is like, I said with Dr. Patrick Mwamba, he did my hair transplant for free. And I mean, now I've documented all these. I've had, millions and millions and millions of views on my various hair loss, hair transplant videos. So there are all kinds of great surgeons who I'm fortunate are willing to do a hair transplant for free for me. And I'm very close friends with my last surgeon, Dr. Daniel McGrath, and he's totally willing to do a surgery for me for free. So I thought, why don't I take advantage of that opportunity? And now, because I have this body hair as well that I can use, I can just sort of like make my hair incredible.
Yeah.
Like really, really good. Because right now my hair looks really good. But it's not like perfect. It sort of has the appearance of being perfect.
Yeah, which is
but
most hair
if I go
transplants.
in the mirror, yeah, which is most, exactly. But like if I go in the mirror and I'm going through with a comb and I'm really trying to like show people that I've had a hair transplant, you'll be able to tell. Yeah. It's just visually when people meet me. I mean, it's pretty good. Like even my people like who cut my hair for the first time, they'd never guess that I have a hair transplant. When I tell them, they're like shocked. So I mean, it is pretty good, but it can be better. My crown can be thicker, and so I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna like make my hairline. I'm gonna take like nape hair and like more fine hair and really make it more perfect, more like a natural hairline, and make it even thicker in the front, put a little bit further back, and like just make it so every kind of lighting that I go in, it's just gonna look awesome.
That's so cool.
And yeah, and then I thought, well, I got all that body hair from underneath my beard, so why don't I do a second transplant after that and take more of my body hair, put it in my crown, fill that up, and have that be perfect. So yeah, why not?
You ever thought of chest hair, or is this gonna be just beard and like nape?
No, just beard hair. Yeah, I'm gonna use beard hair for my
crown,
and so that'll be like my second surgery. But then this next one that I'm gonna get done maybe in like June or July will be the nape hair going into my like the front hairline, just softening it up even more.
That is awesome. Okay, well, cool.
Yeah.
And then how many grafts are they gonna be doing though? Do you know? Is that kind of just still dependent?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depended on what they I don't know how they feel that day. And I don't really have so much like a goal. You know what I mean? It's not like because I'm sort of in a good position. Like my hair already looks good. I'm already on preventative treatments that work for me. I'm already like not far away from 40, so I'm not like super young anymore, you know? So I'm in like now a really good position that I've sort of gotten out of the weeds. So now it's just sort of like, oh, well, I've still got all this great donor hair because I had all these FUT surgeries. So because of that, it was all the, you know, the strip was just sewn together, right? So I've still got all these like FUE surgeries in the bag, so to speak, because I've never had FUE grafts extracted. So all that, you know, area around the top and the bottom and everything like that, I've never had hair taken from there. So I've got tons of donor hair left, which is an important thing when you're going in for any surgery, to sort of have like a backup plan.
Oh, I agree. I know that FUT is kind of what is supposed to be done first. I went FUE because when I discussed it with my doctor, a couple different doctors actually told me I could pretty much pull like 7,000 to 8,000 grafts total based on my donor area and my hair loss. So I was kind of like, if I can get 2,600 first time and it looks as good as it does now, and I can pull another 2,500 and like, you know, add density and softness to the front. I mean, of course, like the first one isn't going to look perfect. Like you're just not going to go from bald to like perfect instantly. And so the goal was to see how much density you could add in like the front half, obviously, which you saw in the photos. And then use treatments to see what I could grow back in the back area or mid. And I've gotten a little bit of that back using like derma rolling and minoxidil and minoxidil, like just different things like that. Unfortunately, I cannot take finasteride. Like I had some bad side effects on that. So yeah, not worth it. But that being said, hopefully minoxidil has DHT blockers that help on the skin. So hopefully that works. And I'm going to look at I'm trying some other stuff coming up, like stem cell things.
Yeah, topical Dutasteride as well is one that a lot of people use that have issues with finasteride.
I kind of want to try topical finasteride or Dutasteride to see if it's easier on me, because oral just didn't work for me. Like it just was bad. I'm a little nervous to do it, but if you have any suggestions, I'll definitely trust you on that.
I'm actually going to be doing some documenting on my channel coming up, because so Dr. Patrick Mwamba sells topical Dutasteride, and I don't have any business affiliation with him. He did my surgery for free, but we don't have any kind of agreement about anything. Like I don't make any money from him. He just did the surgery for free. So, but he actually does sell. I know this because my friend Josh, who introduced me to him, kind of helps him manage the topical Dutasteride sales. And so Josh actually just sent me 4 bottles of topical Dutasteride, and I'm going to be sending it to some guys through my channel. I already have one actually, because he's a personal friend of mine that did not react well to finasteride, that they're all going to be trying this topical Dutasteride, and I want to get their honest feedback on if any of them have side effects, and we're going to document with before and after pictures. So this is going to be a cool little thing to just, you know, it's a little bit unscientific, right? But it's kind of
it's a nice
YouTube
little clinical study
so,
off the book.
Yeah, a little clinical study through my channel, unofficial clinical study. Yeah, and you know, like again, none of these people are being paid or anything like that. This is all of them that are just going to be guys that have had issues with finasteride that want to try, you know, the topical Dutasteride and are willing to document it for my channel. And so I'm going to share their results.
I can't wait to hear what happens with that, because my only fear with Dutasteride and why I didn't take it is that I read that Dutasteride is like much more effective at stopping and blocking DHT. But the problem is that if you do have side effects with it, the side effects last much longer. It has a much longer half-life, from what I understand.
Well, this is what I've heard. And again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but all the people that I've spoken with that are more knowledgeable than me have told me that topical Dutasteride, topical, not oral. Oral is apparently kind of, you know, stronger than finasteride at blocking DHT, and is more often has side effects from what I've heard. But the topical Dutasteride doesn't, they say, go systemic, and it operates differently
rather than going in.
Yeah, the way that it works is different than even topical finasteride.
Interesting.
Topical Dutasteride is a little bit different, and so that's my friend Josh, who has had, you know, side effects from finasteride. He uses, and he also had side effects from topical finasteride, which most guys don't.
Interesting.
You know? And he does the topical Dutasteride and has had no side effects. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's why,
Well, then I would be super fascinated. If your other buddies have no side effects, you can sign me up.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe that's the second bottle then for you. So I'll get the other two through my channel.
Cool. Well, I'll definitely give it a shot because I definitely need to.
Awesome.
I need to figure out something that will for sure block the DHT. I understand that
Yeah.
long term, that's how you keep your hair as thick as possible. I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication on, losing transplanted hair. But
Yeah, so transplanted hair can definitely miniaturize over time.
yeah, it's just
100%. Like it'll most likely it will actually. So it might not all fall out, but
become
what
thinner.
will most likely happen is it'll become thinner. Yeah, the actual individual shafts of hair will become thinner. And so even though you might even have as much hair, it will just look thinner over time because the DHT will be attacking.
Yeah, but some people get that miscommunication too of oh well, if you don't take finasteride, you shouldn't even get a hair transplant. It's well, yes and no. I mean, you definitely should be doing stuff to keep that hair thick, but it's not like it's just gonna disappear tomorrow and you have no hair again, or it's gonna completely fall out. I feel like that's a thing people are scared
It's
of.
all a bit of it's all a gamble.
Yeah.
It's definitely a gamble. Yeah, and I mean you are gambling a bit with all aspects of all of these things, right? They're all you're messing with things. I mean, you're having surgery. I mean, hey, if I'm going to go get a vasectomy, I'm making a bit of a gamble. It's a calculated gamble, but hey, somebody's chopping at something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It doesn't always. I mean, yeah, I just had a baby about 6 weeks ago.
Congrats,
or so
by the
with,
way.
Thank you. Yeah, and she was born by C-section. And C-section, I was told, is the most common surgery performed in the world.
Really?
The most performed surgery in the world. Yeah, that's what the doctors told us. But man, a lot of people have complications from C-sections. A lot.
I didn't know
So
that.
it's they tell you that, oh, this is the most common thing. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that the way that your body can heal after a C-section can really screw you up for life. So I mean, it's all a bit of a gamble, right?
It's not terrifying
But
at all.
At the same time, you can, yeah, exactly. So and all this stuff, and yeah, the best thing is the more information that you have, this accurate information, you just have to sort of assimilate that and talk to doctors and people that you trust and move forward.
Yeah, use some logic, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, also, things are changing all the time. Medicine is changing all the time. And so sometimes when people would say, well, hey, what about if you get a hair transplant now and then 15 years from now, your hair starts falling out. I mean, hey, this could happen. Your hair could suddenly start miniaturizing really bad, even 10 or 5 or 10 years after the hair transplant. Or finasteride stops working sometimes. Sometimes it will stop working as well in people's bodies and things like that over time. And part of that is just is a bit of a gamble and going, okay, well, here we are. And for instance, 10 years ago, topical Dutasteride wasn't even an option.
Yeah.
Nobody did that. That wasn't a thing you could buy. So here we are. What if somebody had made that gamble 5 years ago? I don't think people were really using it. It wasn't something people talked about much. So here we are 5 to 10 years later, and there's all kinds of new things that are being invented that people could use now going through that process.
Yeah, it's super exciting for people, especially coming into it now, getting a hair transplant or trying to stop the hair loss. So many more options and a lot more info and a lot more people making videos, calling stuff out in social media, being honest about stuff even when they don't want to be. I have 2 last questions for you. One, I'm going to have you review my pictures in a second, but the first, or I should say
Cool.
the last question I really have is, I had mentioned to you in the past about Dr. Zaref in Bulgaria. I had seen some interesting stuff about him, and I was curious if you'd be open to talking about what your views are and what he's doing. It looks super high tech. I mean, he's talking about taking 60% of the hair you have available as FUE. He's talking about Giga sessions, which again, I'm not really into the whole mega session thing, but I guess if your doctor's good enough, and he's been showing some crazy results with 10,000, 14,000 grafts, 7,000 in a 2-day period, 8,000 in a 2-day period. It's nuts. What's your thoughts like?
My thoughts is, I mean, I honestly don't have that much knowledge when it comes to it. I've just watched the couple of things that are on YouTube. Him talking at a conference. I've gone to his website and browsed the pictures and everything like that, and I think it's cool. But I guess my sort of main thought with it is that is sort of why. Like, why is it necessary, really? Like, it's, I understand there's kind of that little bit of a bonus in someone's mind of like, oh, I just go to have one surgery and I'm done, right? Like, that's the big bonus. But I don't like, he can't take more grafts than actually
Yeah.
exist that you could ever take. So it's just sort of the option of like getting it all done at once, or getting it done over, a period of time, getting it
Yeah.
done over the period of, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, right? So I think that, yeah, and I don't know, there's that upside, the big upside of it's all done. But there's a little bit of a downside too, because one, time has value as
Yeah.
well, and as you progress and your body progresses and changes, you sort of learn more about yourself. And so that's why people have to be a little bit more concerned when they're getting a hair transplant when they're in their early 20s, because they're at this period where they're like quite young still, and they've got a lot of time to see how their hair loss is going to progress and how they're going to react to various medications and all those kinds of things. So I think if you're going to try and get it all done in one session, you need to be even that much more careful. And I can say that me, after having now 3 hair transplants to restore hair on top and 1 session to fix a scar from the second one, that I've learned a lot about myself and my body and hair transplants and all of these things, and different medications and why I should take them and why I shouldn't, and how I feel about them and all these things over this period of time. So I don't know if I would have trusted myself to make that decision. I'm glad that I don't, yeah, that I didn't make that decision to just do it all at once. I think if I would have just gotten all of it done at once, I would have probably made some just mistakes in my life with, preventive hair loss treatments and things like that.
Agreed.
Since then, that would have caused me to just sort of be out of donor hair,
Yeah.
basically.
Also, taking all that donor hair at
Yeah.
once and then potentially having none left to do anything with is, in my mind, a big risk. Just because, like, if you only have 9,000 grafts total and they take 9,000, you're at 60% depleted donor area. No matter how amazing he is, no doctor can, even if it doesn't show, no doctor can pull any grafts out to like fix an area that didn't grow properly or grafts that died or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're kind of
and
stuck with what you got now. And that's the only thing I'll say. He looks amazing. His results are great, but I feel like it would be good to go to if you're a 5A 6 or 7. Like, if you're already there, if you're in your late 30s, 40s, and your hair is completely gone and you want to go all in, maybe worth doing. I don't know, I guess. He seems to be legit. Like, his work looks amazing, but...
Yeah, I would say probably being older is going to be, yeah. The other thing, I would just assume, again, I could be wrong, and I've never worked with him, so I don't know, I could be like 100% wrong. I want to say that. But at the same time, like, from what I understand from the experience that I've had with hair transplants and talking to different doctors, I've had now like 4 or 5 doctors between my various surgeries operate on me. All of them say that trying to do too much at once is just more risky.
Yep. Harder for your body to
There's
heal.
going to be more for your, like, harder for your body to heal. You're probably going to need to use more lidocaine. There's like different necrosises and things that can creep up. Like, so I don't know, but maybe he's got some way of dealing with all of this stuff. I mean, I don't know, because again, I'm not like an expert on his practice at all. But
I kind of put you on the spot.
I don't know, like, yeah, it's just that from what I understand from everyone else that I've talked to who are also world-class hair transplant surgeons, they wouldn't try to do that because they would feel that it's just, there are more risks that go up. And why do you want to risk more when you can still achieve the same result over more time?
I agree with you. I guess the only thing we have left to do, it's been fun, but I would love to see your opinion. I sent you some photos on your phone if you want to pull them up.
Yeah.
I sent him some before photos. I'll throw them on screen for you guys to check out. And I also put some, I took a photo today, actually, for him to look at that showed, like, the overhead view in a mirror. And, yeah, man, I mean...
My only critique, and this is something that was done to me, I think probably done even worse, honestly, to me, with my first and second hair transplant, which was the same surgeon. And he actually put too many like two hair grafts and even some 3 hair grafts in my hairline. And so
Okay.
that just doesn't look natural because people don't naturally have 2 and 3 hair grafts in their hairline. They really, actually, most of the time, it's, as you know, more kind of wispy, almost more like nape hairy kind of in the hairline. So it's very like fine. And so that is probably the biggest giveaway of a hair transplant, though I'm sure most people, like 99% of people who see you, do not think you've had a hair transplant. But yeah, they can't tell. Yeah, I mean, I look at myself and I go, oh my gosh, of course I had a hair transplant when I look at myself. But I've paid people on the street to try and guess what cosmetic surgery I had done. There's a video of that on YouTube, and like people cannot guess. So your average person is not going to be able to guess. That said, like, the only reason that I could guess you'd have a hair transplant is because you do have a few more like 2 hair grafts and maybe even like a couple 3 hair grafts in your hairline, or actually definitely a few 3 hair grafts. So there's just more like larger grafts in your hairline, and that's something that they can go back and do more 1 hair grafts in your hairline. I would suggest that personally because the rest of your result is so good that I don't think it's worth like the giveaway of those larger grafts. So the 3rd surgery that I had done with Dr. Daniel McGrath, he softened up my hairline and he didn't change it at all, but he just put more 1 hair grafts in my hairline because to camouflage what had already happened, which was the larger grafts. And so I would suggest that because, yeah, again, your results are so great that, and most people aren't going to know, but like, why not just like really kill it?
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
can't tell.
like,
it's funny, actually, how many people...
supernatural looking hairline. And yours is not unnatural, but like, I think if that would be my only critique is like, it's just a few many multi hair grafts in the hairline. Besides that, you have tons more hair now than you did. So... look, you know, light years better. So, yeah, that's my only thoughts.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do my 2nd hair transplant, and they are going to be taking, obviously, FUE hair from the side, too, and the back. So I'm assuming there'll be a lot more, like, softer hair on, like, the sides they can use for the front. So, like, again, my first surgery is more to, like, get the hairline in and more of a V to see if I like that, you know, and then densify it as much as possible with what we worked with, and then come back with a 2nd transplant, soften it and thicken it further, and then hopefully we can stop there. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's like it's like tattoos.
You probably never will, but
yeah. And I've seen
one
your
more.
back,
Just
so,
one more.
I think you have at least 2 more hair transplants in you.
Yeah, I would love to do a body hair transplant. I want to take all my chest hair off because I'm gonna get a chest piece done for tattoo. So I was like, I would love for like after the next transplant to like get all the chest hair taken and move to like the crown area or something because, you know, it's not as important. Maybe mix it in with some, you know, lower beard grafts. I got to take the beard grafts down here though because my beard has like half red, half brown, but like on the edges of my neck, like here it's actually darker brown. I don't know why, but I'm Irish, so like just the beard turns like half red.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have to be really careful with that.
Yeah, it can be tricky with body hair, just it blending in. I'm really fortunate that my beard hair is very, very similar to my head hair. So, you know, when I was evaluated by the surgeons, they were like, man, you totally lucked out with your beard hair because your head hair is very like coarse and like matches really well with your beard hair.
Yeah, that is lucky. I think mine matches a bit, but it's just the color. So they had to take just the brown ones because it is 50-50. Like when I shave or like, you know, trim and it falls on like a white counter, you can tell like it's actually half and half. Maybe I'll talk to your guy. What's his name? Patrick Mumba. Yeah, I'll have to talk to him.
Mumba, yeah.
But yeah, man, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you like taking the time and doing this. You know, it's been working with a legend of the industry is always fun. And you're so knowledgeable, so thank you so much. I'll look forward to seeing more videos from you and checking out that Dutasteride topical. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Same from you. Yeah, I'll see you soon, Brian. Thank you.
See you. Peace.